Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Tom Zuba, and I'm thrilled that you're here with me today on New Year's Eve 2020. Whether or not you're here live or you're here via the recording, I don't believe in coincidences, so I believe we are supposed to be spending some time together. And my hope is that over the next hour, something will be shared with you today that speaks to your heart, that helps you open, helps you expand, helps you become more of who you actually are. So 2020, what do I think? What do I feel? What do I have to say about 2020? 2020 has been, for me, one of the most remarkable, powerful, transformative, unforgettable years of my life. And I don't know how much you know about me, but I have had plenty of remarkable, transformational, unforgettable years. In 1990, my 18-month-old daughter, Erin, died really, really suddenly on a hot summer day. In 1999, my 43-year-old amazing wife, Trish, died on New Year's Day. So 22 years ago today, along with my family, we are in the ICU of Oak Park Hospital, pretty certain that there was one way out, and that would lead to Trish's death. And then in 2005, my most amazing 13-and-a-half-year-old son, Rory, died from a glioblastoma, a terminal brain cancer. So as I said, I have lived more than one amazingly unforgettable, transformational years. But 2020 for me is definitely one of them. As I think back, what the message is for me is literally that words have power. Words have power. And I want to read a little bit out of my first book, Permission to Mourn. I want to read from chapter 14. And that chapter is called Words Have Power. It's the language you use to describe your life that tells the story of whether or not you will heal. And our language is deeply rooted in our beliefs about death, about grief, about mourning, about resurrection, and about life itself. If you are like me, you subconsciously inhaled beliefs at an early age without realizing the power that our beliefs have to create our feelings, our emotions, and our experiences. Most of us cling to our beliefs. We fight for them. We defend them. These beliefs are mine. We don't even realize that our beliefs usually stop us from healing. Our beliefs stop us from healing. We hold on to beliefs that create pain on top of pain on top of pain on top of pain. So as some of us take stock in 2020 with an eye towards a brand new 2021, my suggestion, my invitation is welcome whatever pain, whatever disappointment, whatever frustration you have with 2020, hold it, examine it, and ask yourself, what beliefs am I holding that are causing me this pain, that are causing me this anxiety, that are causing me this disappointment, this frustration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Is there another way to look at this? I literally believe that life happens for me. Life is happening for me in every moment. That's a revolutionary concept. That's a revolutionary concept. But the subtitle of my first book is A New Way to Do Grief. And what I teach is a new way to do life. So I'm going to bring Jessica on. Many of you know her. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am so good. How are you?
You know, it was a week ago that I saw you, but it seems like several lifetimes.
It really does. How have you been?
You know what? My theme is be flexible, be flexible, be flexible, be flexible. And by being flexible, you know, when I notice, oh, there's a little pain here, there's a little pain here, rather than deny it or suppress it, I'm literally asking myself, what is causing this pain and how can I shift this? So actually, like right now, I feel really good. And I'm learning more and more and more how to be flexible. And that's what's allowing me to feel good in this moment.
To feel good today. Were you surprised that that stuff that came up or whatever that caused you to have to practice your flexibility once again?
No.
Were you surprised that it kind of surfaced?
No, because that's what life is. That's what life is. I mean, I was really excited because I had really wonderful plans for Christmas. My mom and I were going to go over to Sean and Shelby's, and the four of us were going to have a wonderful Christmas dinner. To me, that was heaven. That's absolute heaven. And probably 24 hours before that was supposed to begin, Sean really painfully and reluctantly told me that Shelby had been exposed to the virus. So he had been exposed to the virus. So they didn't feel comfortable having us over for Christmas, which I understood completely.
Absolutely.
And I could have really just suffered and sulked and been pissed off. But I was like, well, this is interesting. This is a turn of events that I hadn't anticipated.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is I did see them through their screen door, you know, for a couple of minutes because I wanted to give them the gifts that I had bought them.
Sure.
And I ended up having Christmas dinner with my mom and I together. It was wonderful. I mean, it was really wonderful. And tonight, you know, a week later, Sean, Shelby, me, my mom, we're going to have dinner on New Year's Eve.
How it's meant to be.
Apparently so.
Apparently. So how long, because I know that people always ask this, like, how long did it take you to make that shift? Did you sit in like self-pity and sulk for half the day?
No.
Or
Oh,
no?
no. Not anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Would old Tom have
Yeah, for
that?
several years.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
part of my message to the world is that I have suffered for years,
Yeah.
self-imposed, self-created suffering. Please listen to me. It is not necessary for anyone to suffer as long as I have.
Yeah. And don't you think the more you practice that switch, like, okay, this isn't my plan, and to feel it, because it's not our truth if we just immediately shift without feeling it, but honoring, oh, this is disappointing because this is what I had pictured. Your mom, you, Sean and Shelby spending that time together, but you had additional one-on-one time that was sacred, I have no doubt, that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And then you get to revisit it again.
Exactly. Yes.
A wise person that I know would say, seeing that with new eyes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And when I say to people, we have suffered enough,
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
I don't believe any one of us came here to suffer. So it's just as you said, when I notice, oh my Lord, I believe I'm beginning to suffer. To
Yeah.
me, what it reminds me the most of is when I started practicing yoga. I mean, it took me, 10 days, 14 days, practicing 3 or 4 days a week with an instructor, where I always had like 1.5 eye on the instructor. Where's my arm supposed to go? What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
But it literally became a practice. I practice it. And in a relatively short period of time, she would say downward dog. I would like, okay, I have a picture of what that's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Am I in position? Half of an eye on her. I look good. That's the only thing that I can compare it to. It's a practice.
It's a practice. Now, in your practice, because it's been my experience, especially in yoga, I think I've got to get it perfect because I have this idea of what I want it to look like. For me, a quarter of my attention, or more than that, is on my instructor. I'm really trying to be in my own body and my own space with my mat, but then I'm also looking around the room to see who's doing it better. Do you do that? Do you fall into that trap?
Seriously, I mean, I am old and I have suffered and
Yeah.
suffered. I don't care what people misunderstand this. I don't give a rat's ass what anyone else is doing. I really don't. People don't get this, but the person that I care most about, that would be me. So as far as this idea of perfection, I truly do believe, and this is freedom, that everything I'm doing actually is perfection because it leads me to the next step.
I love that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That we weren't born into.
This notion that we're doing it wrong. No, we're not.
No. Yeah. We're here to grow and to experience and to be. And ideally, for me, I want to be a better version of myself each day. I take lots of steps backwards. I don't have it perfect, but that is my goal, is to be a better version, to be able to offer more, to show up for myself first. And then knowing that, which was a hard lesson. The first time you and I had worked one-on-one before in a group setting, but when I met you for the first time in person through Jessica Lindbergh's Restoring a Mother's Heart, and I've talked about this before, but it is so, like, it brings me back like it just happened. You said, I have no trouble taking care of myself first. It comes naturally to me. So, from a female perspective versus a male perspective, and I won't make that a blanket statement, but some of us have a really hard time not feeling selfish about that. And it is just when I think I've got it mastered, I'm reminded yet again, like, oh, this is maybe a forever process for me of learning to take care of myself first. And I think that 2020 has been eye-opening for me in that I have taken a big leap forward in taking care of myself and bettering myself so that I can then help others, help my family, help my loved ones in my circle.
Yeah, I am not 100% certain about this, but a big percentage of me actually does believe that boys and girls, males and females, we're programmed by society, by our parents differently. Yeah. One of the things that I was very aware of after our daughter Erin died, I had no problem taking care of myself, none. You know, if I wanted to go to the gym, I went to the gym. If I wanted to do this, Trish had a real struggle with it. It's exactly as you said, that thinking of myself first is selfish, that I'm fulfilled when I'm of service to other people. I think we're programmed very differently.
We are, and I'm fascinated by the nature versus nurture. You know, how much of that is in our DNA and how much of that is learned. But I go back to, you know, the airplane, like that flight safety message, put your oxygen mask on first before you help others around you, which makes so much sense. But as a mother, it's so contradictory than my instincts, because I want to take care of my loved ones' safety. But I have learned, and I'm still learning, as I always say, I'm a work in progress, but I'm learning that when I take care of myself, my cup is full, and then I'm able to give abundant love to those around me.
Yes.
But I will be the first one to say I'm a messy work in progress. But I'm better today than I was, you know, a year ago.
I am too. I'm a work in progress too. One of the gifts of Trisha's death is that I got to be Rory and Sean's mother and father. And I resented that and I hated that for a long time. But once I stopped resisting the truth of my life, I actually not only enjoyed it, but I loved it. I loved being their mom and dad. And one of the things that I noticed is when I took care of myself, you know, when I was well rested, when I exercised, when I ate well, then when I was of service to my children as a mother and father, it made me feel good. It lifted me up. I enjoyed it. But when I deprived myself, you know, and when I was angry or tired, or, you know, it's like, I made the lunch, I washed the clothes, I made, you know, blah, blah, blah. It was just a completely different energy that I was coming from.
And kids don't say thank you because, and I mean, sometimes they do, but they're, you know, they are designed, I think, by nature to be egocentric at that point. You know, they think me, and their needs. And so I honor your role as mother and father. And you were in, you know, Trish passed, it wasn't a choice. But I think back to, especially the holiday season, all of the parents that are doing it alone, either widows, you know, widowers, single parents. My heart goes out to everybody. As an empath, I feel everybody, but especially, you know, speaking on a personal term, as a single mom that tries to do it all, it's hard. And when I see another mom nailing it on Facebook or whatever it is, I have so much empathy and so much love. I have love and respect for everybody, but especially for those single parents, whether by choice or by, you know, shit happens in life. It's hard. it's hard every day. There's so much beauty in it too. And more I'm embracing the beautiful aspects of it, but especially around the holidays, it can be really, really hard. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of those single parents out there that are doing it and doing the best that they can, and knowing that there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
Right. Every day we show up. The best that we can do is we can show up and be the best version of ourselves that day.
Yeah.
And the morning may look totally different than the afternoon or the evening, but
yeah, we each see the world, you know, through the pair of glasses that we're wearing.
Yes.
And my thoughts about what you just said is there is a whole group of men out there who are raising their children by themselves. And as invisible as you may feel as a single mother, I promise you, nobody, and I mean nobody sees the single dads who are raising those children by themselves. How do I know? I was one. My kids were 3 and 7. I shouldn't say nobody. My mom and dad did. My mom and dad did. They did. Not only did they see me, but they worried about me. They extended themselves to me. But the vast majority of the world out there, I'm not exactly sure why, but invisible, completely invisible. So not to compare, but to widen that circle, that yes, women who are raising their children by themselves and men that are raising their children by themselves. So I guess what I'd say today, anyone that's listening to this live or via the recording, if you know a mom, if you know a dad that's out there today raising their kids by themselves, send them a text, send them an email. You know, I'm proud of you. You know, hang in there.
You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing a great job. You're doing the best job that you can. And at the end of the day, our children want to feel loved and they want to feel safe. When I would sign off, I began kind of a journal to Olivia, even before she passed. But I always ended it with, you are loved, you are safe, you are protected, because that's what we want for our children to feel. But that I see you. I see you, moms and dads. I see you doing it alone. And you are so perfect in your role, because you can speak to the dads that have done it and you're still doing it as a single parent, not as you would have designed. I don't think most single parents that are doing it today pictured, if they could picture their utopia for what their family would look like. This is certainly not mine, but I have come to, and that's what makes me really, really proud of my personal story of Lily and I, that more and more we're embracing our now and our new life. And we've got some bumpy growing pains that we always go through, which is life. And I'm always honest and transparent about it. But I see you. It's not easy. Not that it's easy for the parents with, I don't even know if it's polite to say like intact families, because everybody's got their stuff, grief or no grief. And we all have different forms of it. But whether you've got, you know, you married your high school sweetheart, you've got 2.5 kids and the golden retriever, and, you know, life looks like it's perfect. Life is still messy and it's hard and it's beautiful and it's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all in it together.
Well, and the invitation is always extended to us. Is life happening for us? Is life happening for us? And to me, I can't say this enough. That belief is rooted in this concept of, is there a God? And if there is a God, what is God? What is God? What is God? Once I settled on a deep, deep, deep knowing of what God is, that was a game changer. That was a game changer. I truly, truly, truly believe that life is happening for me in every moment. Is that frequently a wake-up call? Like, how could it possibly be happening for me right now? It is, but it's the road to discovery.
Yeah. And so many people knowing your story with your multiple losses would think, how does he feel that way? How did he get there? But
if I didn't feel that way, I wouldn't have gotten here. I would have killed myself.
You wouldn't be here. You would not be here.
No.
Yeah.
No,
and I think the same could be said for so many of us.
Yeah.
It's that shift. It's monumental. It's that shift in perception that you have helped me and so many others plant the seed of it, looking at it a new way.
Yeah.
What if it all happened right on time? What if it is all happening for us? What if 2020 happened for us?
It's not what if, it did happen for
Yes.
us. 2020 happened for us.
For us.
Yes. Now, can I shift my perception so that I believe that's true? If I thought, oh my God, the whole fucking year sucked, I'm so glad it's over. That is not my experience. That hasn't been true for me. But what kind of hope and what kind of power would that give me moving into 2021?
It's revolutionary thinking that I actually get to co-create this. And this is happening for me. When life challenges happen, and I'll be the first to say, when something big is placed at my feet, I don't immediately look at it as a gift.
No.
But no, I mean, that's human. I mean, if I felt that, I would be, ascended with, I wouldn't be here in my physical form if I had that ability to perceive it. But with work and with sitting with it and with reflection, and it comes with time, and I will be the last person to say that I perfected it, but sitting with it and looking at it, what is this teaching me? What is this trying to teach me? Or if nothing else, what are the positives that could come from this? Even if I can't think, this is brought for me, okay, this is happening. What are the positives? What lessons can I glean from it to carry me into the new year?
And the very, very first step is allowing yourself to feel everything that you're feeling.
Yeah.
Not being afraid of the feelings, and realize that pain, suffering, grief, not the enemy, actually really, really, really powerful teachers that can move us in the direction of either more pain or peace,
Right.
peace.
Because we're feeling the pain anyway. And by denying it, it doesn't make it go away. By numbing it, it doesn't make it go away. If anything, I believe that it magnifies. But it does take a lot of courage to sit with it.
It does. But I believe it gets easier and easier and easier and easier.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. You and I have both walked through fire, and we can do it again and again and again and again. It's not going to kill us.
No. And we are blessed, not by random coincidence, but by cultivation. We have worked really hard to speak our truth, and then to find our tribe and our community, which you have created such a beautiful and welcoming platform for people that, if this message resonates, to say yes and to lean in closer and whatever that looks like, signing up for a program or just following your messages and finding kindred spirits. But that we're not beyond the scope of grief, but we're not meant to do life alone. We are meant to do it in community. And suffering will always happen, because life is not all rainbows and sunshine. There's lessons in the darkness and in the dark periods. But having people that will walk through it with you, that you can trust, that's a game changer for me.
I agree with you. And I firmly believe that like energy attracts like energy.
Yeah.
And as we raise our vibrational level out of lack and fear and pain, into peace and abundance and love, we attract more and more people that are vibrating on that level. I attracted you, and you come with this amazing group of people that are reflections of you. And I had the incredible privilege of meeting one of your dear friends at the retreat that we had in October.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled that you can be with us, and I want you to introduce us to her.
Yes, I'm so excited to introduce the world to my soul sister, Christielle Bartles, who said yes time and time again, not just to us and to our collective experience, but to life, to showing up and to being such an amazing soul.
Hi, sweetheart.
Can you see her? Let me flip. Yay! I love it. Let me just say, I cannot restrain my excitement. I love it when my people meet my people. Hi, people. Hi, people.
Hi, people.
Oh, my soul is so happy. How are you, Christielle?
I'm super. How are you guys? I've been listening and I love everything you're saying.
We're so excited to have you here. Where are you right now? I, of course, recognize the backdrop. I have been in your beautiful living room, but tell the world where you are.
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, in my cozy little home, snuggled up with my blankie. You might hear my snoring dog in the background. My apologies.
No, it's perfect. So Christielle has a pug. How old is Inca?
18
and going years old and going strong. So, and Inca gets to enjoy the benefits. So Christielle is many things in addition to being my soul sister. We met our very first week of college at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston, Illinois. And what did we both say to each other? Do you remember? Of course, I know you remember, but.
Well, I remember we were sitting on a bench and I remember what you were wearing, but I remember we had signed up for a dance class and we're like, I thought we were actually going to dance in this class. We're all stretched out and ready. And it was like scary. But anyway, that's how it all started.
It was the theory of dance, Tom. It was not a dance class.
I'm in my leg warmers.
Yeah, our leg warmers. We were ready. We were ready to experience it, but it was so perfect. And then you were so brave, and you always have been, in speaking your truth. And you're like, I don't really like it here. Do you remember?
Yeah, I did not like it there at all.
I don't really love this school either. But I'm so glad. I know that I experienced my first 2 years of university because I was designed to meet you there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, honestly, college, I majored in psychology, learned a lot, had a lot of experiences. But yeah, Jessica was my gift from all of that.
Same.
Most people love
Ditto.
college. I did not, but I love my Jessica. She's my gift.
And we met on a bench, Tom. We
That's
literally
beautiful.
sat on the bench together.
Everything
So
magical starts on a bench.
everything magical. So I call you my soul sister, my bestie, and you have many, many titles. What do you refer to yourself as? A light worker, you're a healer, but I don't want to put my words into your mouth. What do you are magic, love, and light. This I know.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, I mean, I do a lot. I mean, I'm a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. I do a lot of sound healing. I do divine light energy healing, which I'm a Reiki master, but I also do a lot of other practices. So yeah, I would encompass that into a light worker. Let's say that, as many of
worker.
us are. So, but that's how I show up.
I love that. And I got to say that I knew you when, right? And you were always love and light, but I don't know of another soul on the planet that has worked harder at themselves at like unlearning all of the stuff. I believe that we come into the planet being pure love and light, and then through learning the humanness, for lack of a better term, we just get all these other layers of stuff on us. Yeah. And you have worked so hard at shedding all of that and showing up for people in such beautiful and generous ways. It's remarkable.
I do. I am so fascinated by the healing journey. Like, to me, it's like, I just love it. And it's like, ooh, the deeper it goes and the harder it gets. I love the analogy of a bow and arrow. It can only shoot so far forward after it's got that tension. And you know, when it's wobbly and it's like, oh, it's when we're resisting. But you know, when it's like, you know, so it's like the more you feel like you're getting pulled back, it's like, oh, this is going to be a juicy launch. You know,
very 2020. I mean, I think that's the perfect analogy for what so many of us have experienced in 2020, where we have felt so uncomfortable, so many shifts, so many changes that we didn't see coming. You know, a lot of people became very sick and they lost loved ones. They lost jobs, they lost income, or there was a reduction in income. They weren't. Yeah, I mean, I know that we can both speak to that. Like, we have had to readjust, but then it's also knowing that there is a better plan for us ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, was 2020 the worst year of your life, or was it the year that set you free? You know, when everything gets taken away, it's like, who am I? You know, and then it's this beautiful rebirth, resurrection. Like, instead of who am I, it's like, who am I? You know, so what a beautiful fresh start.
So for the people, and I love your perspective, and I have the benefit of getting to speak to you and FaceTime you multiple times a day.
Multiple times.
But for the people that don't maybe have that perspective of yet they're trying to have a positive outlook and trying to think of 2020 as, okay, maybe it was the unraveling of some other things. Do you have any tips, tricks, or thoughts on how we can maybe change our mindset for 2020 and then look ahead?
Yeah.
If that's not too loaded of a question.
No, bring it on. I feel like how Tom always says, you know, life is working for me. That's kind of that mantra. Mine is just, what is the lesson here and what is the gift? Like, I'll just stay in that instead of like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Or if I do that for a brief moment, because I'm human, then it's like, whew, Okay, shoo, this is definitely a spiritual lesson coming at me. So if you can clear away all the drama and the stories of, and the suffering, it's just like, shoo, again, like how I pulled Jessica out of college, like, shoo, here's my gift, is whatever's happening in the loss of job or loved ones or, just a way of life, home, just what could possibly be the lesson here? If I were to take all that off, just what am I learning from this? Is it about letting go? Is it about trusting myself? Is it about discernment? Like, if I could just pull out the seedling of the lesson, because that's what we're here. We're here learning and growing from experiences. But when it starts to get messy and the why me and victim and where you kind of can't see clearly, I say splash some water on the face, do a little shakeout, couple deep breaths, go on a walk and just ask, like, what could the spiritual lesson be in this, and sometimes we can go right to seeing the gift too. Like, wow, I forgot how strong the gift is, realizing my power, and sometimes you don't really see the gift till a little bit later, but you can always extract the lesson in the moment.
Yeah.
I
That's
agree. I agree with you. If people are really, really, really honest, when they are in this moment, 99% of us, we are fine. We are fine. Bullets are not being shot at me. Now, they are some people, but they're not me. I am okay. In this moment, I am okay.
Yeah. And I had a beautiful spiritual teacher, and she'd always just do this to herself. She's like, I'm not bleeding. I'm not bleeding. Like, I'm okay. Like, that would just be her nurturing, like her just talking to herself, just patting her face, like, I'm okay in this moment. Yeah.
And the truth would be, someone might be listening and saying, but I actually am bleeding. Someone that I love died, or I'm afraid my house is going to go into foreclosure, or whatever, whatever, whatever. But in this moment, are you okay? And like I said, 99% of us are. What is the next best step? What is the next best step? We spend so much time living in a past, we torture ourselves. And I think right now, so many people are living in an unlived 2021, and they're terrorized by it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if we stay in this moment?
Yeah. Well, even with the, like, when you actually are bleeding, like, because the thing is, my 18-year-old dog and we were both hit by a truck. The very end of 2019, we were walking, hit by a truck, and I was bleeding and broken, and I was on my couch that very next day. That was the next day, and because I've done so much work on myself and in the healing world, I was like, what is the lesson? This is painful. This is physically painful, emotionally painful, mentally painful, spiritually painful. Like, what was that? And it was like, spirits, like, slow down. It was just loud and clear. But even in the immediacy when I was bleeding and broken, like, slow down, feel. That was mine. Yeah. So even when it isn't, that extreme case. So
Yeah.
yeah. And how beautiful to be within that next day to be able to see, okay, what is the lesson in this? And I think it's unrealistic to believe that we're all there or that we all need to be there at the same time. But in order to get there, even if just for a moment, what lesson can I glean from this? What is this trying to teach me? And it goes back to, do we live in a chaotic world where everything is up for grabs? Or do we live in a world where life is happening for us? And I know which one brings me peace. And what I feel like is my personal truth is that life is happening for me. Life brought me Christielle. Life brought me Tom. And I believe our loved ones on the other side helped to orchestrate it. And then my higher power that I call God helped to orchestrate it. And that gives me a framework for life so that I still fall back into that victimhood where like, why did I have to, experience this pain? And, why did I have to suffer? But more and more I'm able to shift into, but what is the lesson in this? And so you talked about your car, like being literally hit by a car, you and your Inca, who has been like your family for 18 years. And let me also just add that there is not a luckier puppy on the planet. Inca gets Reiki. She gets to go to the chiropractor and acupuncture, and she has holistic practitioners. I mean, Inca's a pampered pooch.
Yeah, I mean, she's Benjamin Buttoning. She's like going back in time.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? The gift, even with the accident, and one thing I do want to address too, like, have you guys heard of the term the spiritual bypass? Yeah, it's so funny because you can't take away, just because I knew what the lesson was doesn't mean I wasn't like, ow.
Right.
Right. At times, yeah, not like, oh, it's okay, everything happens for a reason. Just like put that on top so I don't have to feel anything. It's like, oh, that was rough, and still honestly continues to be. But so again, like was Tom was saying earlier too, you feel it all. You don't just sugarcoat it with a nice statement like everything happens for a reason. It's like, no, that hurt. Whew, boy, do I know the lesson. And wow, I've been go through all the human stuff, but the gift also from that was with Inca and I. She was 17 when it happened. I didn't think we could get any closer. Like, she's truly my soulmate. Like, we are together. And I mean, it'd been 17 years and we were so close, but this last year, I mean, it has been the most gorgeous union. And I mean, this overflowing amount of love and connection. So again, even in that, like, it sounds terrible. Yeah, we got hit by a truck, but like this love that we have and connection, like it brought us closer than I ever could have imagined. So yeah.
I liked the flip side of what you said. What is the lesson here? But you also said, what is the gift? And I opened the show today talking about the stories that we tell ourselves. I can be a really, really literal person. So I'm picturing you on your sofa in incredible, excruciating pain. I do believe it's possible to get to a point where you go, well, wait a second. I do have a sofa. I'm grateful for that. It's in a house. I am one of the fortunate human beings. I have a house.
Yeah.
I have a refrigerator. I have running water. The running water is heated. I think a lot of times when we are just thrown to our knees, that's where we have to begin. What is the gift? Is there anything that I'm grateful for? I'm not sure, but maybe one of the things you were grateful for is I'm still alive. I'm still alive. For some people, they would go, oh shit, I'm still alive. I wish I would have been dead. I get that. But for others, I am still alive. Let me start there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and another thing that it's so interesting, you have the incident, whatever anyone's incident is, and then like, and I feel like the amount of people that showed up for me, like it was overwhelming in the most beautiful way, where also another lesson I had to learn how to receive. I'm a giver. I will give and I'll take care. And do you need anything? No, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. Until I'm like sitting on my couch eating a stale crouton because I can't drive. I can't go anywhere. It's like, oh, I need to ask for help, and I'd been in a situation before where I never did. And this time wisdom is applied knowledge. It's like, I am going to receive the help that is offered to me now. And it was beautiful. And I got to be on the other side of it all. And the people that helped me and would get food for me or, shop for me. It was just beautiful. Everybody won. So another lesson, slow down and please receive, it's part of the journey too, not just giving. So
Absolutely. And in doing that, you allowed them the grace to be able to give to you, because it feels good for us to be able to pay it forward, to
yeah.
not just always be on the receiving end. So just as much, I believe that just as much that you received those loved ones that were able to show up for you, that you allowed to do that for you,
Yeah.
they received just as much as they gave, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is all part of the human experience. We're not just here just to pay our bills, pay our mortgage, make our payments, and then like check, and then sit in front of Netflix for the rest of the night, fall asleep on a recliner, get up and do it the next day. We're
Yeah.
here to live and to feel. And yes, there's bills. I mean, we live in a finite world where those things have to happen, but the stuff that matters, the collective that connects us all, is that human connection, is feeling and being aware and not just on autopilot. So I think in you taking that big step, because I know what a giving heart you have, but life was showing you needed to be on the receiving end of that love.
And
And
look how
in
many people love you. And yeah, it was beautiful, painfully beautiful.
painfully. So don't you wish you could learn the lessons in life? I always say this, like, God, why couldn't you give me this wisdom without the pain?
Yeah, could you
And
turn that down a notch on the volume button? Yeah.
I wish it worked that way. And I think there are lessons that we can learn with grace and ease. But for me, it seems like the biggies in life, it comes with, yeah, it comes with the pain, but it's also seeing with new eyes. What are the
This
blessings?
Oh, go
this
on.
is my experience when I am floating on a raft in a pool in the sun with a nice cool drink. I ain't learning anything. You
Right.
know,
You're having a
Oh,
good time.
it,
but don't you wish?
it's when I am just, you know, on my knees, cracked open in pain, that I look around and I'm open to.
Yeah.
That's what we collectively have created, I believe.
Yes.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about 2021 with the last couple minutes that we have left. Christiel, how are you feeling about this dawning of this new year?
Oh, I am so ready. I'm ready to launch. In fact, it feels like I'm going to kind of launch tomorrow. I don't even know with what. Like, I'm waiting for spirit, but I feel like 2020 for me, it was a real beautiful lesson in let go of the need to control, because I'm a mover and a doer. And it was just like, everything kind of got pulled away again. A continuing lesson, slow down. But ideas have been brewing. And I feel like this last year was such a year of integration and like, yeah, just no distraction, just sit, feel it, a lot more meditation time. So now it just feels like, and I think it's happened for a lot of people, we were cocooning to come out into this rebirth, is it's going to be a massive paradigm shift in the world. I mean, like, life will never be the same, in a beautiful way. And I always use the example of remodeling a house. Like, let's say you see your place and you're like, oh, I could use a little splash of color, and you just kind of go get a new orange accent pillow. It's like, okay, that feels nice and bright. It's not a big change, but it's nice. I feel like that's kind of like healing, like just maybe I just stopped drinking coffee. But like, let's say you're like, oh no, paradigm shift. We are taking all the walls off of what was, where there's not a lingering pillar. Like, shoot, we are wiping it again, where we're doing the free fall and who am I? Where are we going? As we're assembling it in a new way, as we're all waking up. I mean, we are waking up and a lot faster too. So I'm so excited, and again, then going back to the remodel, what we're doing is like gutting the house, knocking out walls, ripping up the floors and the carpet. And we are going into it so deeply where it's a mess to live in for a while. It's like, oh, why are we doing this again? It's like, you can't find anything and it's a disaster. But when you actually finish the project, it's unrecognizable and like, this is who I am now. This house suits who I am. And I feel like that's what's happening in the world. So we're in the construction part right now.
So what would you say to someone out there, and I know they're out there, who's saying, well, I really liked my house the way it was in 2019. I don't want a new house. This all scares me. No. What would you say to them?
I would say, ooh, the lesson there very clear isn't, let go of the white knuckle grip on what was and open up to what will be, because you can't, I was like, if you're kind of going down in the current and it's like, oh, no, and you just get so tired and you can't hold on for long. And one day you're like, and the water just carries you and you're like, and then there you are. I think this is
So
this is
that
magic,
requires trust.
Yeah, a lot of trust in that life is happening for us. Yeah.
And the process, just to trust the process. There's a divine process and it's so beyond us too. But the white knuckles show no trust. Been there,
No trust.
done that t-shirt. It's tiring. It's tiring to not trust.
Yeah.
It's tiring to hold on.
And there's no growth in that, right? Is there? I mean, it doesn't stop. The white knuckling process doesn't stop life from happening. It just gives us pain. And as I look at my beautiful screen with your beautiful faces, I see, and I know your histories. Life has happened in big ways to all of us. And if we can trust that we're still standing, we still have roofs over our heads, we still have running water, we still have friends, we still have the technology of Zoom, that life, God, the universe, spirit, whatever it is that you call it, has brought us here, has sustained us, and not just allowed us to survive and white knuckle it through life, but to rise above it and to find the sunshine and to find a tribe and a community where we speak a like language. Then maybe that's, for me, that's what helps me have faith, to be able to say, I don't understand all of it. It is uncomfortable at times, but I will trust the process, that good things, beautiful things that are meant to be, that I want to be the co-creator of, are flowing my way in 2021.
Yeah.
But trust is a huge thing. But if you look, and I think for anybody, don't you? Like, if you look back on everything that we've experienced, we've survived life up until this point. And if we're here, I think if you're drawn to Tom's message, if you're here today, if some of this resonates, then you're here for a reason. And to take that next step and to trust that it can still be beautiful and life can still be happening for us.
So, Christiel, how would you respond to this? This notion, I know the three of us believe it, that we are not victims. We are not victims. We can actually create or co-create our experience. So someone's listening going, what? How would we begin to do that? How would I begin to create peace for myself in 2021, or abundance, or love, or whatever? How would you respond to that?
Gosh, that was just a huge journey for me. Like my old story from my life was, oh, I'm a total victim. When now, yeah, the word is empowerment. Again, not saying we don't ever like, oh, wait, no. I'm powerful and strong. And for me, it's all about vibration, with how this is great and this is good and this is bad. Don't do that. Instead of any of that, to stay with vibration. Is this high vibration or is this low vibration? High vibration, does talking to this person make me feel open and expanded, or does this person drain and pull energy from me? Does watching Netflix, three episodes of a show, does it make me feel like, oh, wow, that was actually really good? Or is it, just to continually move into, everything that makes you feel bigger. Everything for me, my simple, just very simple test is, can I take a deep breath? Like if it's like, hey, should I do this or this? And it's like, oh, I should say yes to this. It's like, oh, I can't breathe. Like, okay, I got to say no to this. There's my answer, because the soul speaks to you and how you feel, and it's just guiding you. If the thought of something isn't peaceful, or like, oh, I should go out to lunch with these people because they've been my friends for a really long time, I can't take a deep breath. It would be more peaceful to say no to that. Not they're not bad. It's just, do I feel expanded or contracted? Can I take a deep breath or not? And then if you move through life like that, again, it's not going to be what life was. It's going to be rewriting a new story of peace or abundance and love, but in the daily play-by-play, not just saying yes because a friend asked you for coffee. It's like, how does that feel? Would that bring more peace to my life, or would that take away? So a really tangible way to, move towards what you're trying to move into.
So are you suggesting that in 2021, it is okay for me to consciously take really, really good care of myself?
What? Yes. What a concept. The best care of yourself ever. Yeah. And tuning into the soul of like, whoo, just expanded or contracted, light or heavy, open or closed. Like it's,
yeah.
It's not in the head.
Yeah, language can be limiting, but I call it my God-given barometer. When I stop and when I'm in touch with my God-given barometer, I know, is it a good idea to have coffee with these people, or maybe not so much today, for now. Yeah. And it is okay to say no. So many times saying no is actually saying yes to myself.
Yeah.
Yes. Giving ourselves that freedom and that power, and to say no with love. It doesn't, I can't do it today, or it doesn't feel good today. And, hopefully we'll get together soon, or whatever that may be.
And saying it with no white lies, like, oh, I'm going to visit my aunt.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Empowered is like, oh, actually I have a lot going on today. Thank you so much for the offer. And not even saying, let's do it tomorrow. Because then it's like, what if you don't? It's just like, thank you so much for the offer. And yeah, just in that empowered truth, like, yeah, no lies.
Doing that, you will teach them how to be able to do that in their own lives. I mean, I think the circle widens, speaking our truth and honoring ourselves first.
The best way to teach is by living, not by telling people like, I'm living what I do. And hey, she seems really happy. What does she do?
Yeah. As Tom says, like, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah. Well, and even if it goes, if we take it back to what we've been talking about, if me saying no to someone makes them feel uncomfortable, that's not a bad thing. There's a gift in that. There's a lesson in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's an opportunity for someone else to go, oh, I wonder what that's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new way.
So the three of us are going to commit in 2021 to take really, really, really great care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us. Yes. Thank you so much for being with us, Christy. It's always wonderful to see you.
So
Thank you, guys. That was so much fun. I love this kind of talk. I love it. Like, just, my heart goes, phew. Explosion.
Feels good.
This is my hope. I'm going to put it out there. My hope is that by September, we will be able to do a live retreat again, here in Rockford. My hope and my vision is we'll do one in September, we'll do one in October. So if I don't see you in person before then, I certainly want to see you then.
Okay, superb. Let's put it on the calendar. We're manifesting already.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much.
And Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Happy
Please
New
take
Year to
really,
all.
really good care of yourselves.
Yeah.
We will be back next Thursday, 11 a.m. Central. Take good care. That'll be 2021. We'll see you next year.
See you next year.